Alright, so this week I thought we'd venture into generating wood grains on logos, giving them a kind of an aged look, and yet keeping the graphics still editable just in case we need to make any further changes. And I have a logo here. You can see that it is in fact on its own layer against a white background. And I'm going to go ahead and create a layer mask on this layer by simply clicking on the layer mask icon here. And you can see by default it fills it with white, which reveals the entire graphic. And what I want to do is go into the filter menu. I want to make sure my foreground and background colors are set to their default black and white. And making sure that we're working directly on the layer mask, we're going to go into the filter menu and go to Render Fibers. And we'll get this fibers effect. I'm just going to leave it at the default 16:4, but I'm just going to click randomize a few times. Let's zoom out a little bit. Clicking randomize just redistributes the way the fibers is kind of configured in there. And once we get one, let's hit OK. And you can see it's going ahead and generating that effect to a degree, but gotta tweak it a little bit. So still working in the layer mask, I'm going to bring up my levels dialog by going under the adjustment menu, image menu, then adjustments to levels. Now inside the levels here, I'm simply going to take the shadow slider here and kind of push. Actually, no, I want to take the highlight slider, not the shadow slider. Sometimes you got to do one tool to know that that's not the one you want. So over here with the highlight slider, I'm just going to push it over quite a bit till I get just a subtle hint of that wood grain coming through. It's almost just like it's been aged, but it's not too aged there, kind of like that. And that looks pretty good there. So once that's done, I'll simply hit OK. Now, we're almost there. You know, if you're having an aged wood grain, you know, wood would have kind of a brownish color or something like that. So I'm going to highlight the background layer. And I'm going to go into my color picker and just click on it. Now I have a brown here, but let's go ahead and choose something a little bit lighter. Perhaps like that. I'll hit OK. And with that set as my foreground color and highlighting the background layer, I'm just going to press Option Delete. That would be Alt Backspace on the PC. So we have a kind of a wood colored background, but we need to give it the grain that we gave this logo. And to do that, I'm going to load the layer mask as a selection. Now, of course, a layer mask pretty much is the same thing as an alpha channel. Any of the white areas will be active selections, and any of the dark areas or black areas will not be selected. And gray areas will only be partially selected. So I'm just going to hold down my Command key or the Control key on a PC and click once on the layer mask icon. And there you can see it loads it as a selection. Now I'm still active on the background layer, on that background color layer, so that's what I'm working on with that selection. Now I'm going to invert that selection because I want to reverse the area that is selected. So I'm going to go into the select menu, go to inverse, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Shift-Command-I. That would be Shift-Control-I on a PC. Then I'm simply going to bring up my levels on this one. Actually, let's go ahead and use a levels adjustment layer. So I'm going to go into my adjustment layer menu, go to levels. And you can see that the levels generates its own layer mask, giving us the ability to view our image without those pesky marching ants in the way. And I'm going to go and down here to the output level slider. So I'm going to grab the white one right here and just kind of push it in until I start to see that wood grain appear. As you can see, it's lining up perfectly with the grain we created before because we generated our selection from that original grain. So I'm just going to push this in a little bit to enhance that grain effect. And once I'm done, I will hit OK. And there we have it. We've created an interesting wood grain effect. And you can see if I turn off these effects here, if I turn off the adjustment layer and hold down the Shift key and click directly on this layer mask here and to deactivate it, you can see that there's our original graphic unaffected. All we've done is add a layer mask, add an adjustment layer, and we've got our wood grain effect.